Morning, everybody. So, here we go. First impressions and so on and so forth with newest addition to the fleet here. Well, as most of you know, my collection is rather extensive. And I've got a lot of different brands. Mostly Traxxas, an old Vitera, the Bruiser clone, the off-brand Hengong, or however the hell you pronounce that. I got a Kyosho, I've got HPI, a lot of Tamiya, Red Cat, ECX, more Traxxas, Losi, the old Mari Big Bear up there, ABC with the Super Hawaii, more Traxxas. So I figured, you know what? Why not give, one of these lesser known brands, the what are they called? They're a lot of people online call them the knockoff brands. You know, you see the same truck sold by three different companies under three different names, or they have the same numerical designation, but it's under three different brands. But then you do a quick Google search and come to find out that all three of those brands are owned by the company that actually makes them, and the company's name that's actually on the box when you get it. So here we go. First impressions of this thing. This is the supposed 1/10 scale Hosim 9125. Now, it says it's 10th scale, but let's get that right. Let's get that little discrepancy out of the way immediately. Now, please direct your attention to these three trucks. On the right here, we have a 1/10 scale two-wheel drive ECX Ruckus. On the far left here, we have a Tamiya Blackfoot 12th scale monster truck. Now, in the middle, we have the Hosim. As you can see, the wheelbase lines up better with the Tamiya than it does the 10th scale Ruckus. 10th scale? I don't think so. 12th scale? Yeah, 12th scale, I'd say. Now, as for the width, let's just pop this thing over here. It's a little bit wide, just a touch wider. Just a skosh wider than the 12th scale Tamiya. Just a skosh thinner than the 10th scale Ruckus. Now, those are back on the shelf. I could put it next to the T-Max, but that wouldn't really be genuine because my T-Max has the RPM wide arms. So this thing is an inch wider than it would be stock. So, yeah, no. That is definitely a wide boy. I could put it next to the Red Cat. The Red Cat's the same size as the ECX. Hell, I could probably put it next to the Sledgehammers or the Big Bear, but the Sledgehammers are still going to be a little bit bigger. Maybe not as long as the ECX, but the Sledgehammers are bigger. I said screw it. You know what? Let's do that. So, on the left, there is a Traxxas Sledgehammer, the precursor to the Stampede. On the right, the Hosim. Now, if we line the back tires up, you can see the Traxxas is still longer. By wheelbase-wise, it's decently longer, but the entirety of the truck-wise, it is considerably longer. As for the width, the Sledgehammer is just a skosh wider, just like the Tamiya. Or rather, just like the ECX's. A skosh wider. And just for funsies, let's put it next to the Nitro Rustler, the OG, just for shits and giggles. So, yeah. 10 scale stadium truck versus supposed 10 scale monster truck. Yeah, much longer. However, the Hosim is wider. So is it really a 10th scale monster truck? I'm gonna have to say no. However, however, it's still a pretty sizable piece. I mean, 12th scale, I would probably say it's more a true 12th scale than a 10th scale. But I mean, that's not a bad thing because a lot of the Tamiyas, like Midnight Pumpkin, Lunchbox, the Blackfoot, Monster Beetle, the Rising Fighter, the Grasshopper, 90% of the Tamiya trucks that are out there are actually 12th scale. They're not 10th scale, and they're some of the most popular, most badass trucks you can get, you know? I mean, my Blackfoot with a brushless system, that thing is a monster, and it's a lot faster than people give the Blackfoot credit for because it can handle the power. And I mean, the Rising Fighter and the Grasshopper, which is way over there, you know, those are, 12th scale buggies. And, the Tamiya buggies are some of the most popular buggies out there. So, is it 10th scale? No, so that's a little bit of a little bit of a snafu on their part, but it's more close to a 12th scale truck, which isn't a problem because, a lot of my trucks are 12th scale, so I don't really have a huge issue with that. But, some people will. Most people won't, like me. 10th or 12th scale is what I usually... Anything smaller than 12th, I really don't care for because it's just too small for me to have fun with. So, now that we get the size discrepancy taken care of, when I opened the box, what came with this thing? Well, as you can see, the truck itself, these tires, they got some decent squish to them, and I haven't really broken them in yet. I was doing donuts with this thing last night on my driveway with the kids. Let one of the kids drive it around. Once the tires are worn in, it's got a decent bit of grip to it. They're not like those cheap hard plastic tires that you see on like the New Brights or a lot of the really cheap clone trucks. It's got some grip to it. They're pretty damn grippy. The wheels aren't terrible. They look kind of cool. I mean, but, the body, it's got this nice kind of graphic. I mean, it's kind of your generic, monster truck graphic. But I mean, hey, I do like the coloring. I kind of like the design. I dig it. The 2 shocks up front, 4 shocks in the back, 2 on each corner in the back. I thought that was pretty cool. That's actually why I wanted to pick up this truck, because of the suspension setup. It kind of reminded me of the Sledgehammer, which has, the two shocks on each corner, or the T-Max, E-Max. Except for the front on this one, it's only got the singles, but it's got the duals in the back. So I thought it was kind of cool. Now, when it comes to this truck, what came in the box? The truck, these body clips with the, little rubber, they're tagged the Hosim. They got the Hosim branding on them. These ones were in a bag with 4 extra clips, and the clips that were on it didn't have these, so I swapped them out. So it came with 12 body clips total, 4 of them with these little tabs, which I put on here because it makes it a little easier to grab them. 2 bodies came with this nice unpainted fresh shell. Unpainted, do-it-yourself paint a shell, which I thought was a cool little addition. Kind of sucks that it's already cut out, because that kind of makes painting it a little bit more of a pain in the ass. I mean, I prefer to have, kind of the little tabs at the bottom to kind of keep the overspray down, but I mean, it's whatever. I mean, they gave you a free shell, an extra body that came with the truck, so hey, I'll take it. So it also came with this nice little pouch. Supposedly it's a, fire resistant lipo charging pouch. I don't know how fire resistant it is. It feels pretty thick though. It's a decent pouch. It's a nice pouch. It feels like it's got some decent material in here. So who knows? It may actually be fire resistant. But it's a nice pouch either way. Little cleaning brush. Screwdriver. Little wheel wrench. And then there's the other 8 body clips, and it came with 4 replacement wheel nuts just in case. It also came with this little adapter here, so instead of running 2-cell, you can run 4-cell. Or should I say 2 cells in parallel, because they gave you 2-cell LiPo batteries. And yes, you can run them together. I already tested it. The first thing I did, I ran single battery. And if you're only running 1 battery, they give you this nice little clip-on battery cover that, you know, keeps everything hidden inside. Just clips onto the top of the chassis. Keeps all the cords and the battery protected. Nice. You know, if you're only going to run 1 of these little batteries, it's a nice little piece. It clips on. It's fairly sturdy. So, yeah, they give you these 2 batteries. 2 of these chargers, just these kind of generic USB stick chargers for these small batteries, you know, charges through the balance leads instead of, you know, kind of like normal chargers do when they go through the, you know, the Deans and the balance. But I mean, at least they give you a couple of, you know, they're not super expensive chargers. They're just kind of generic cheap chargers, but hey, they work. Not like I'm going to use them. I already charged them with this thing, and this thing charges all my batteries, so I use it. And it also came with a light kit that I already have installed. So let's pull the body off and check underneath. Well, now that the body's off, you can see that light kit. It's you know, fairly generic, just 2 red LEDs in the back, 2 whites in the front. But I like how on this little, you know, 60 amp ESC receiver type thing, it's just 1 little plug that you plug it into, and boom, done. Don't have to fiddle with body work to get in at it. Don't gotta deal with nothing. Battery tray, where the, you know, this little cover would snap on. However, I was running both batteries last night, so they also gave you this nice branded, rather long Velcro strap. It's a little longer than what it really needs to be, which is nice because it holds both these batteries in very, very snugly. But I would assume if you want to run a normal size LiPo or normal size 2-cell, you probably could for extended runtime. So, you know, there's that. It is a nice size strap, and it so far it's been working pretty good. I've already rolled this thing a few times, but anyways, oh, there's some grass or some leaves stuck in there from playing around. So, looking at the chassis, a lot of these nice kind of like rose gold anodized parts. Now the bottom bulkhead cover, front and rear. The drive shafts, front and rear, because yes, this is all-wheel drive. They're metal, which, I mean, looking at it, it doesn't look heavy, but it's got some weight to it. You know, it's a pretty heavy truck, but I mean, I would assume with dual motors, it supposedly has 2 motors in here. I'm not taking it apart to confirm, but I mean, I probably will eventually later on when I go to want to upgrade it and, you know, slap some faster motors in it. Who knows? Maybe. Or maybe I'll just leave it as is. We'll see. The suspension, like I said, it's got these twin shocks up front and these quads in the rear. Now so far, just first impressions. I'm not a huge fan of everything being enclosed because then, you know, the motors could possibly overheat a little easier. It does have these vents that I believe are fully functioning, so air can come in and exit. You know, help keep this thing cool. If you look in there, they are cut out, so I mean, I guess they're trying to keep it cool. But, you know, I would prefer to be able to at least, see the motors. But again, this is just a first impressions video and kind of what came in the box. But it is a nice little setup. Everything, everything is enclosed. So, I mean, I guess that keeps, the dirt, the mud out of it. I mean, kind of keeps it water resistant to an extent. But so far, everything seems pretty solid. There's not a whole lot of slop in the steering. Like, that was the first thing I really noticed when I pulled it out was, there's a little bit of movement, but anything more than that is servo movement. You can hear the servo pickup. There's not a whole lot of anything going on here, really. So I was rather surprised with how tight the steering is. I mean, last night, again, I was testing it out. I ran both batteries in parallel, and it's got some get up and go. It definitely has some power, so I mean, whatever little motors they got in here, they are pretty peppy. So this week, I'm probably going to play around with this thing all week and, jump it, put it through its paces, and, we'll see how it holds up from a week of, like, pretty hardcore bashing, doing some jumps, some flips. One thing I will say is on the remote here, having a high speed and low speed mode is rather rather cool, because instead of having to go in and press and reset the ESC, I let one of my kids drive it last night. All I did was flip the switch to low speed mode, and he took it out and he went crazy without going crazy. And he was able to drive it without putting a whole lot of pressure on it, crashing it into anything, doing any damage. So then I put it in high speed mode and it kind of took off. So the switching the modes actually does change the speed quite a bit. So again, we'll be playing with it and testing it out. I'll take some more videos of it, and we'll have some fun. But initial impressions, with what you get in the package, compared to what it's advertised as 10th scale, being actually more close to 12th scale, so far, I mean, for the price, I'm not completely, not completely torn up about it, because on Amazon this thing was like $129 with a $10 or $15 coupon. So for just over $100 for something that's decently sized, and it seems pretty sturdy and stable, so it should be able to hold up to some pretty good bashing and thrashing about the yard. So we'll see how it holds up. So thanks for sticking around. Here are my first thoughts, initial response to, opening the package and, seeing the truck, being able to tool around with it a little bit just to kind of get a feel. Stay tuned for the updated video after about a week's worth of bashing and, see how well it holds up after that. And as always, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified about all my newest videos. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below or reach out on any of the social medias tagged below. So, have a good one. Stay tuned for the updates and some footage of this thing running.